Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Myself Akbar. In today's video, we will see how to protect API Gateway with IAM authentication. In serverless world, API Gateway is the entry point to access any backend services from your client application, especially Lambda function and DynamoDB. It's absolutely important to protect your API. So there is one authentication mechanism called IAM authentication. In today's video, we will see how to set up IAM authentication and how to send signature v4 request to verify your request.
Okay, now let's start our hands-on exercise. First, let me go and create a Lambda function. So click Lambda or search. You can search from the search bar. Lambda function will create very simple, basic Lambda function. Click here to create a function. Then we'll author from the scratch. Let's name the function like customer. Let's say get customer info, for example. Okay, that's the function name. Then I choose a runtime Node.js. The default setting is fine. Then let me click create a function. Our function is being created. Let's wait for a second. Now the function is created already. Get customer info is the function. If you navigate the code tab, inside the code tab, you will find some code, some boilerplate code. Okay, so it is nothing but there's a response object carries some status code, success code, and it's written hello from Lambda. I don't want to change anything. Whenever I call this method, then I have to get this response back. That's the uh, concept. Now that is more sufficient for our demo. Now click here to deploy this function. Our function is being deployed. Yes, no changes to it. It's already deployed. So now let us go and test this function. And there is a test tab and put the test name, test example. So then you just simply hit the test button. See, execution function is succeeded. And if you expand the details, you will get the success code 200 and body hello from Lambda. So we are ready with Lambda function. Now we can go and create API. So in the search bar, search API Gateway. API Gateway. Select this one. Now we are in the API Gateway console. There is option here to create API. Click to create API, and it comes with variety of API type: HTTP API, WebSocket API, REST API. For this hands-on exercise, we are going to go with REST API because we're going to go with REST API. Develop REST API where you gain complete control over the request response along with API management capabilities. Okay, it's a full set of full set of functionalities where we can develop API for variety of cases. We can expose anything from AWS through a REST API. That's the power, and you can do the request and response mapping in between. So that's how the REST API offers. So we just click REST API, and there is a button called build. Click the build button. Then you get the API detail. Now we are going to create new API, and let's call this one my customer API. Let's say this name, and the default setting is fine. API endpoint type is regional. Okay, let's keep the regional and create API. Your API is being created. Okay, it is successfully created. Now we can go and create resources. Okay, so there is an option here to create resource. The first resource we'll create, we call this under the root. We can have multiple resources. The grouping of methods. So then for the first resource I create, customer is my resource. All right, customer is my resource, and there is a button. There is option here like cross origin resource sharing. Check this one because we want cars to be enabled from within the REST API so that it can allow the client application to connect with. Okay, click and create resource. All right. So the customer resource have been created, and also it created options method because we check the cars option. So it comes with the options method. So it will help us help the client to do the pre-flight request. Okay. So the options method. Now we have the customer resource. We have one options method. Now we need to create actual method. So for the customer function, to call the customer function, we'll create a get method. Click the create method and select the method type. We'll select a get method, and yes, we want to point to lambda function. Okay, so there are variety of options for this exercise. We are going to call lambda function, and you will see lambda proxy integration. We are not going to use proxy integration. Proxy integration is like sending the request to the lambda function as it is without changing the structure. So we are not going to use the proxy integration for this exercise. And under this region, we have to select our lambda function here. We have to search our lambda function, get customer info. Yes, yeah, we got it. We chose the customer info lambda function and create method. A method is being created. Yeah. So the client can send a request, method request, and that comes to the integration request. Then that pointed to the lambda function, get customer info. Then get customer info will send the integration response, and at the end the method response will be sent back to the client. Okay, that's the whole flow. Now the next thing is we need to deploy this API. So there is a button here, deploy API. Click here to deploy, and it will prompt for the stage. We don't have stage yet, so you create a new stage. Let's say new stage and put the stage name dev. Okay, and click deploy. So that's it. Our API have been deployed successfully, and it provided the URL to access this API. You can copy this API URL, and then we'll go and test in the Postman. I got the Postman opened. Now let me click plus icon, and I paste the URL which I copied. So it is the URL, and there is a stage variable. It's a dev. Then I had to also mention the resource name. Resource name is customer. Yeah, it's a get method. Now I hit send. All right. So I had to mention the exact resource name, customer, to get the response. Now I get the response, hello from Lambda, from this Postman utility. Now, let me do one thing. Let me go to the APIs. I opened my customer API, my customer API. I opened it. Then I checked my resource. All right. Then I open the get method. Then I see some setting. Method request settings. Here I see the authorization set to none. So anyone can send request to my API, without any security mechanism. So now this time I want to change for this hands-on. I'm going to change to click edit. And if I edit, then I see method request settings. I see the authorization set to from none. I will change to AWS IAM. Okay. Then I click save. Now, if you look at it, my customer API get method has been protected. Now, the authorization it expects, AWS IAM credentials. Okay. So, how to handle this in Postman? Now, let me open the Postman utility. Now, if I try to send, I'm not setting the same request. If I send it after a few clicks, because now it has been loaded from the cache. No. It is not working, right? So whatever change I did, I need to go and deploy the API. So click to deploy the API to the same stage variable. It is highly important to deploy the API whenever you make any changes. Now the API is deployed. Now come back to Postman and try to call this API. In a short span of time, it will be blocked. I'm still waiting for it. So after some time, I get the message, missing authentication token. So my request is being rejected. So I can't send this request, without providing the IAM credentials. Okay. So how to do that? So there is the authorization tab. Click authorization tab and open it. Then you will find AWS signature from the drop down. AWS signature. Select it, and then here you get the options like text boxes like access key and secret access key. So you have to provide your access key. When you create the user IAM user, you will create access key and secret access key, right? You have to provide this access key and secret access key, and region. With that, if you pass, then if you click send, it will work. It will work from Postman. So, as expected, we provided the AWS signature and we get the success response. Okay. Now this is working from the Postman. Now we will see how to implement this from the client application. Let's say Angular application. How to call this API from Angular application and how to sign the request using the SigV4. Okay. Let's continue our demo.
Brand new Angular application. There is literally nothing inside. It's a fresh application. From this application, the idea is we have to let the user to be authenticated using Cognito user pool. We'll configure, and we also configure Cognito identity pool, so that user will get authenticated. Once authenticated, then the application, with the help of Amplify, will generate ID token. The ID token then we will be using to, get the temporary credentials, and then it will be used to sign the request. Okay, AWS signature, SigV4. Okay, so prior to everything, we will
go and create a Cognito stuffs. Okay. Now let me go to the AWS console. Okay. Here I will search, I will look for Cognito. Let me click Cognito. Now first we will go and create user pool. Okay. So here the option to create user pool. Click user pool, and this our case is traditional web application. Now we are working on Angular, so it's single page application SPA. So we'll go with that. A name of the application will say my SPA customer app. Okay, it's okay, the default. Then options for sign in identifier, we will go with email. Okay, and then we don't need anything else. Return URL will say localhost 4200. Okay, that's the default port. Now let's create the user directory. My SPA customer app. Okay, so the user pool have been created successfully. Now we need to go to the Cognito again and create the identity pool. Actually, this identity pool will be useful to generate the temporary AWS credentials. So it will work hand in hand with the user pool. So we'll create identity pool. And this identity pool, we want to, select the authenticated access. Okay. So it can, we can use multiple provider identity sources. For our case, we want user to log in with the Cognito, right? So we created Cognito user pool. So we select Cognito user pool and then click next and create IAM role. Yes, we want to create IAM role. We'll create my test customer app IAM role. It's a my customer app API IAM role. Okay. View policy document. We still need to update this policy. Anyway, for the time being, it's okay. Just click next. And we have to select provide the user pool ID. Yeah. So the user pool ID which we we created is this one. This user pool ID, right? Yeah. Then app client ID. So there is a my SPA customer app client ID. That's app client ID. We have to select. We have to provide the user pool ID and app client ID, and the rest everything. The default is fine. Okay. Then click next. A name of the identity pool. My customer app identity pool, let's say. Okay. Now just leave everything default. Click next. Okay. Create identity pool. So we created identity pool and user pool. Now let's go to Angular and configure all this Cognito stuffs. Okay. Now in the app component, okay, I'm going to in this project I'm going to install a set of packages. Okay, because we have to work with the Cognito identity provider and Cognito user pool packages, especially Amplify. We'll be using the AWS Amplify UI to authenticate users. Okay, so we need UI component to let the user to let the user sign in. And then also we need a few packages for Cognito, so that the packages will help us to create temporary AWS credentials, and as well as it will help us to sign the request. So npm install all the package names, then copy. I'm copying this one and hitting in the terminal. Now I got the terminal. Then I'm pasting the package npm install
all the package in --save, hitting the enter. So let us wait, till the packages get installed. So it took a lot of time to install all these packages. Finally added all these required packages. Now I have to copy the environments folder. Actually, under the source, reveal, and then I'm pasting under the source. I'm pasting environment folder for the Angular. Okay. If you see the environment, I have production environment and development environment. In the environment, I have to change the value of these items. Okay. For example, API prefix. So we developed my customer API, right? Open it and go to the stages where you will get the URL, right? So you copy the URL, which is this one. Copy the URL and come here and paste it. Paste the API URL, okay, without the stage variable. So the stage variables mentioned here separately, and now we have to, in this portion, we have to provide the Cognito specifications. So we need to provide the Cognito identity pool ID. Let me go to Cognito, open identity pool, my customer app identity pool, open it. You will find the identity pool here, identity pool ID. Copy this one and paste in here. Okay, this is the identity pool ID. Paste it here. Then we need to paste the user pool ID. Then open user pool, and the user pool is here. And open and user pool ID. Find the user pool ID here. Copy and paste it here. There you go, user pool ID, right? You copy the user pool ID. Now I need to provide the client ID. User pool client ID is here. If you go to the app clients, you will find app client ID. Okay, it's app client ID. And the scope is email. The rest everything is same. Let me copy the same thing to production also, except the first one. Okay, everything is same. Now the first step is we have to configure the Amplify. So Amplify is a library where we have to configure to work with Cognito. Yeah. So the first step, we have to configure the Amplify. So in the app component, before the app component, we'll copy some items, which is Amplify Authenticator module. Okay, from Amplify UI Angular. This will provide the UI component. So copy this one and import it. This is standalone component. True. And then in the import array, paste the Amplify Authenticator module. Then we have to configure Amplify using this class, like Amplify configure, then provide the object inside the auth object, provide Cognito, and these values get fetched from the environment. Okay, where we provide all the variables. Okay, login with so and so. Now in the app component, we have to wrap this one inside the UI Authenticator component. So I'm replacing this outer outlet with this code. It is nothing but Amplify Authenticator, the UI component. Under that, we have a slot, authenticated slot. Once authenticated, because the Amplify will take care of the authentication part, it will work with Cognito to ensure the user is authenticated. Once the user is authenticated, then it will render the section inside, which is router outlet. Whatever route you provide, it will be rendered. Okay. And let us go and launch the application and see how it is looking. So in the terminal, I'm just typing ngs. See if it is working or not. Yeah, it has rendered the URL successfully. Now click the localhost 4200 Yes, now we got the Amplify authenticator component prior to anything. Okay, so the user cannot log in without authenticating. So this component it will be rendered. Okay, let us give some style so that it will look good. Let me open Amplify Angular JSON file. In the style array, just add this Amplify style prior to the under the style array. Build again so the changes will get reflected. Okay, now click localhost. Now we have nice UI component. Okay, so this is from the Amplify. This is UI. This UI provided by the Amplify. So then we don't have to create this component for login. Okay, it's very handy. And there is a tab here, create account. So first time we have to create account. So let me provide my email address. Okay, and password I type. So this way I'm creating account for the user. The user is creating his own account, sign up. Okay, click here to create account. And this will trigger an email to get the OTP like confirmation code. Okay. So I paste the confirmation code, then confirm. Now user is authenticated successfully. Now we see the blank screen. That means user is already authenticated. Okay. So let me go to the developer console and click the application. If you click the application, you will see set of values here, especially the ID token. Okay. So this Cognito, this Amplify authenticator work with Cognito and authenticate the user, and that it will let me find the exact ID token, this one, especially this one. So it provide it get authenticated, then store set of tokens, ID token, refresh token, and set of tokens inside the application, inside for each application. Okay, so this ID token is what we need to it is very important to provide this ID token to generate the temporary credentials. So let us see how to do that. Okay, now let me go and create a customer component. Okay, close this one. We'll create actual route. Okay, so ngec customer, nggc creating component for customer. So then we got a new customer component. Okay, now let me add some routes. Go to the app routes. In the route array, let me copy the customer route. Okay, if I browse the route, if we go to the route path, then I want this to be go to the customer component. The customer component is customer works. Okay, so customer components created. Then I want to create customer service also. So nggs customer, then customer. Okay, S for service. So let me add customer service inside the customer folder so that we can initiate. We can talk to the API gateway from the service. We can call it so that we can call API from the service. The customer service been created. Okay, that's nice. Now in the inside the app folder, I'll copy inside the app folder. I copy core folder where I put. I'll explain the code. Inside the core, I have two services. One service is auth service. Okay, so what this auth service will do, it will fetch the auth session. It will fetch the auth session. So this auth session is from the Amplify auth. So remember we authenticate user with Amplify, right? So this Amplify auth will provide fetch auth session method. So we can receive the session. The session means whatever saved in this, we saw the developer console, we saw these tokens, right? So these are the auth sessions are stored here. So we can get access to those session tokens from this, called fetch auth session. So this will return token. Token means it will return on the token. Okay. And there is one more API signer method, this code. Actually, this service will be responsible for sending the SigV4 signed request. So you can see I have referred all the Cognito related references, the Cognito authenticator library. Okay, all I referred here. Mainly there is method called send a signed request. So from our customer service, we will be calling this method to take care of creating the SigV4 signed request. Initially, from the auth service, we get the get current session. Then from the session, we'll extract only the ID token. Okay, ID token. So the ID token is encoded format. So we will be using the JWT decode library to decode the token. Okay. Then we can also extract the user ID if you want to send. Then you will call get temporary credentials. So this way you will call Cognito identity pool to generate temporary credentials. To generate the temporary credentials, all you need is ID token. Okay, you will pass ID token. So then it will call the identity pool. You will have to provide identity pool ID, which is there in the environment variable. Then it will provide the credentials, temporary credentials. Once receive the temporary credentials, then we have to create the signature v4 object. Okay, then with set of things like credentials, region, then service, execute API. This is what there is permission. You also need to provide in the role. Signer, then we have to create the canonical request like this: new HTTP request, and then method and host name path. Then in the headers, you have to provide set of headers: x, AMZ, date, security token. The security token is a session token. This session token, you will get it once you receive the temporary credentials. Okay, the temporary credentials, you will get the session token. Okay, for the limited period. So it will be refreshed automatically. Okay, so the hash, you have to hash the payload and provide the X user ID if you want to pass the user ID. Okay, then sign the request, signer.sign. Send the entire request, signed request, and then you can fetch the target URL. Okay, the method, headers, and body, and from the signed request object. Okay, so this way you will send the request. Now let us see how to call this method from the customer API. Now I'm going to customer service. Okay, customer service. Then I'll be replacing this with my code. Okay. So the API prefix is customer, capital C. Okay. Now this code is nothing. We are referring the API signer service, and we are building prefix and postfix this URL, and HTTP client. We don't need HTTP client. Just say this because we will be sending API signer service. Okay. Then we don't need this one actually. Okay, stage prefix and postfix customer. We will be sending only these two. To sending this one to API sender service send request. We are calling the API send request, and we have to provide the method name and the path name. Okay, the path is stage prefix dev / customer / customer. Okay, so we don't provide the complete path here because the send request already comes with the host. Okay, we provide separately. If you go, you will find the host we provide separately. Okay, so then in the customer service we have the get customer. I expose this get customer method. Now in the customer HTML. Let's create click method and then you point get customer method. Okay. Click here for to get customer. Let me point the not here customer HTML customer component. Okay, actually I have to copy this one. I had to in fact this is the click method and on customer get customer, for example. Okay, on get customer this method must be created in component. Okay, we changed. Okay, so this one on get customer method, if I click, then I have to take the constructor. So let me private. I need to refer the customer service customers. So we link the customer service, get customer, and we just simply want to console this one. Okay. Now let us try whether it's working or not. So it will save automatically. Now let's go and ng yes to see if it's working or not. Okay, now okay. Then by default I redirected to the customer page because due to as per my route setting. So there is a button I put to get customer. Yeah. So I click here to get customer. Then the service is calling the send a signed request method and creating the temporary credentials and so many things, but failed. I'm getting the message like from origin. This localhost 4200 has been blocked by CARS policy. A request header field. This field is not allowed by access control allow headers in the pre-flight response. So this sending the request canonical request, if you are sending it, the AWS expect a few headers, okay, that we have to enable from the server API gateway level. So let us go to the API gateway and go to our customer and then options. In the options method, go to the integration response. Okay, if you go to the integration response, you will find access control allow headers. Okay, this one we have to modify it. So let us, it is missing. So it is missing some header values. So let us go and add them. Actually, we have to pass all these headers: content type, authorization, XAMG date, token, till actually it is demanding for XAMG content SHA 2256 encryption. Okay, so I'm copying everything and pasting here. Okay, so let me okay, that's fine. I can because I see the options method and the get method inside and access control of person allow origin is star. Okay, give save. There's some issue here. Or let me put inside the single code. Yes, I think it will be fine now. Yeah. Now this has been saved successfully. The same applies to get method also. The get method, go to the method response and edit. The method response must have the header. So the method response should have the access control allow headers must be added. Then one more value, one more header we have to provide access control allow methods header. Then add one more header which is access control allow origin. Okay. origin. So we provide these three and give save. Okay, now our method for the get method, the method response set to three headers: methods, origin. Now click the integration response. Here we have to provide the value for those headings. So click edit. So access control allow headers. Here you will provide the whole header value, which is this one. Copy. Method, for our case, for the time being we use only the get method, so you just put a get method because it's a get method. Okay, and for the origin, for the testing purpose, we provide start. Okay, and click save. So you do changes in the API, right? So the next thing is we have to deploy the changes. Okay, it's very important to deploy the changes. So go and deploy the API to the same stage, dev stage. So our API is successfully deployed. Okay, now we can try from our Angular side. So let us refresh. So after few seconds, I tried again. Okay, then it went to create and temporary credentials and then canonical request. Then I get the message, still I get the error message: origin has been blocked by CARS policy. No access control allow origin header is present the requested source. But you see, I set everything fine. This access customer API, if you notice, there is a session logged out. So let me reinitiate the session. Open my API. Get method. If you notice the integration response, method response, integration response. I did not provide, I think I forgot header mapping, so I edit. Okay, then add those headers. Maybe that's the reason. So adding those headers. Click options. Hello origin star. With that, I save it. Okay. Inside the customer, I saved all the headers and method response also set. Yeah. So then I go and deploy the API to the dev stage. Let's wait for some times. Okay, now API got deployed. Now let required headers. Then I go to Angular application and try to hit this button. Then it is creating. Then I got the error. Okay, still saying access control allow origin header is blocked by CARS policy. No headers available. But I see the API gateway. The header is available with me. For example, I go to my API, okay, my customer API. I click, then I see the integration response. I set all the headers, but still, this is saying error. Okay, so what error I get is, this is kind of, if I go to the network tab, then I see 403 error, forbidden, 40, something is blocking, something is not okay. 403 error. So I go to API gateway. Okay, API gateway. Then I go to the gateway responses. Okay. Actually, I want to see what a specific error 403. So the status code 403 access denied. Okay, click here. and access denied. This is what access denied. Then there is, so despite having the headers, okay, and we still get that error, which is coarse error. Okay, if I click, then I am still getting the access denied, access control allow origin. The if I go to the network tab, then I get 403 error, right? So that means something is happening in the throwing error, and the error, when we throw the error, then cannot find the access control headers. So that's why that message is coming. So we are not able to see the actual error message. So let me go and go to that API, my customer API, and go to the gateway responses and go to the access denied, and where you can find I did not add any headers. So let me add those headers here also. So add a response header. So the first header will add access control allow headers. Okay, then we provide the value, the same value. Okay, then I need to add one more header, which is access control allow methods. There I put, for the time being, I put this two methods, get and options. Then I need to add one more header, which is access control allow origin. Then I put star to allow everything. Okay, then click save changes. Then I need to deploy this API, my customer API, deploy it. Okay, deployed. Now let's go and see. We can make it this time. Okay, let me click. Okay, finally I get the actual error. The actual error is it's forbidden. The message, the assumed role, my customer API role. Okay, which is used by the Cognito identity credential, is not authorized to perform the execute API invoke on resource. Okay, actually, what is happening? We create temporary credentials, and we provide this. We get the session token and sending that session token along with the by creating the canonical HTTP request, and to sign the request to call our API. So that for that, the Cognito identity pool is using a specific role, assumed role, to perform this activity, calling that API, execute API. Okay, so there is a lack of permission, so that's why it is throwing the error. Okay, now we found actual error. Now it is very simple. We will go and find this role and add the execute API permission. Okay, now let me go to the console, then I click IAM, go to the roles and look for the role which is my customer API role, and open it. And under the permissions, you will find the policy. You see, you will find the policy. Now we need to edit the policy. So this policy is allowing only the Cognito identity put to get credential for it. It is just the permission is there only to create the credentials. So we need to give permission to execute API. So we need to click edit. We'll go on edit. So this place we are going to modify the permission. So there's already one existing statement. Then under that, and put another set of permission, which is this time execute API invoke. Okay, so here we have pointed ARN of our API gateway. Okay, everything ARN of our API gateway, which you can find it. If you go to your API gateway, you will find, for example, you got the API gateway get method. You will find the API gateway ARN. It will get star. So I copied the policy, update the policy, then next save changes. Okay, so now it has added the execute API policy, save changes, right? Now the policy, Cognito policy is updated, so everything is set. Now go and try again. Okay, click customer. Yes. See, after that, it is sending the request to this customer and we get the response back successfully. Hello from Lambda. So this way, we successfully send canonical request, okay, from customer service, especially from customer component. We call customer, and that's a get customer method, and we provide the API method like get method, and there is a path like path parameter, which is stage variable plus this combination of this one, and sending the send request, calling this one. And if it is a post method, then you will be providing the body also. So this body will be hashed. Okay. So let me explain what is SigV4 then. It is a standard method to securely sign HTTP request when interacting with AWS services like AWS API Gateway, S3, etc. So this signed request, SigV4 request is actually checking authentication, who is making the request, and integrity, has the request been tampered with, and authorization, the caller allowed to perform the action. So these three things are ensure to have authentication, integrity, and authorization. Okay, so as I explained, the client application, initially it will generate the temporary credentials. The temporary credentials, to create the temporary credentials, we need ID token. Okay, once it takes ID token, the Cognito identity provider go and create access key ID, secret access key ID, and session token. So this will be getting using the Cognito identity using STS credentials. Okay, so then it will we need to add necessary, you need to create the canonical request by adding necessary authentication headers, like for example AMC date, AMC security token. We'll be sending it, then request will be forwarded successfully. It will check the API gateway will validate the SigV4 signature, and then the request will be sent to the Lambda, and then response sent back. Okay, so this is a sample snippet which I explained already. Okay, so it's a working example of how you can send a signed request from Angular application. Okay, thank you.